All right, guys. So for this one, I'm going to be showing you how to import your character from the last video into Unreal Engine using an existing character controller. So we're not going to be creating anything by default. I'm going to go to the respective folder over here. I'm going to be making a new one, and this is going to be your student ID. So mine is going to be LAG8998. And then inside of this one, I'm going to go to my desktop. That's where I have the project from last time. I'm going to go for my very started source images, and I will be selecting everything Bonnie related. So these 6 files, I'm just going to drag and drop them into a scene. And then remember, you need to open your ORM files and disable the sRGB flag because they are not sRGB files. So let's take all. Now I'm going to go to a second content browser. So you can open that with Windows. Content browser number 2. I will have that floating over here for a second. And what I want to do is go to my Alberto folder, and I'll have materials. So I'm going to select this substance master, and I'm going to create a material instance. It's going to be my PMI underscore Bonnie underscore third. I'm going to select that. I'm going to open that, and then under global textures, I'm going to make sure that I have these 3 files. That's all the ones that I'm going to be overwriting. So Bonnie fur base color, Bonnie fur normal, and my for ORM. So save that, and then I don't know where I left my second content browser, but let's switch over here. Okay, so I'm gonna duplicate these, Control D, and this is going to be just my regular Bonnie texture. So I'm gonna open that up. I'll open up the pair, and I will take my global textures. This is gonna be Bonnie normal, and Bonnie ORM. So with that, I'm going to close all of these. I'll save all. Seems to be a visual bug with my second content browser, so let's just reopen it. And I'll select those 2 textures and put them in the same folder, my UID folder. Okay, so very important that they are here, otherwise they might not transfer. So I will be closing that, and I'll have these. Now, if you take the project from last time, you're going to have a Maya file. So what we need is to open Maya and export that as an FBX. So once Maya is open, I'm just going to be opening my scene from the last video. And now this one is important. I'm going to take those 2 and I'm going to press Shift P, so they are at the root of the character. And then I'm going to go File, and I will say Game Exporter. Now, inside of my game exporter, what I want is to export just the selection as is. So root, these. I will be saying, what is the path? Well, the path is going to be my source images. And then this is going to be skm underscore bond. So export selection. I will put it in my source images. Whatever you want to save it is fine. In my case, I will choose the source images, and then I'm going to choose the name. Now, this is going to save it while I'm right, because I already have that file in that place, right? So I'm going to be taking that out, and I'm going to minimize this. Now, the last thing that I want to do here is export that FBX file. So SKM Bonnie FBX. And pay attention to these settings, because Unreal Engine 5.5 made a change with the settings of FBX files. The importer looks a little bit different than 5.4 below. They haven't changed the importer in many different versions. They decided to change it in this one. So things that we need to change. Make sure that under materials, you're not importing materials. So it's disabled. Under textures, you're not importing textures. Perfect. And then under skeletal meshes, this is also key. You don't want to create a new skeletal. You want to use one that is already in the engine. So I'm going to be selecting my SK FNAF. So with those settings, previously you would have looked for something like convert scene or convert scene unit. This seems to be happening automatically in the background for you nowadays. To be sure, I'm going to look for convert. There is nothing in here that I need to change. So if your asset is smaller than what it is, this is where you will just create an offset for that transformation. But in my case, everything should be on the same size. One thing that might be wrong is the orientation of the character, but we will take a look at that in just a second. So what I want to do is just double check that my materials, so let's see, skeletal meshes is using FNF, skeletal mesh. Perfect. Materials is not importing any materials. I already created them in here. And textures is not importing textures because I already imported that. So I will hit import. There you go. So these were successfully imported. One thing that is not done for me is going to be the material is not attached to the mesh. So I need to double click on that. And then I'm just going to be placing my materials in their respective slots. If you have more slots, just make sure that you're putting that in the right place. And I'm going to hit save. So at that point, I should already have my character and I should already have it scheme and read to anything that my character controller has in place. I'm going to go to my window, content browser number 2 once again. And then down here, I'm not going to go to the Alberto folder, but to the characters folder. And in here, I will look for my Freddy, and I will look for this one, the BBC Freddy. So I'm going to create a blueprint child. So I'll create child blueprint class. This is going to be my BBC underscore Bonnie, or whatever the name of her character is. And I'm just going to move that in here. So be sure to say move and not copy. Now, if I open this one, put it over here, I can select the character. I can say, well, you're going to be using this skeleton now. So if everything went right, you will have your character controller moving. One thing that usually happens is that it's going to try to just use the parent skins. So the textures, it's just a matter of saying reset and reset, and you should be good to go. Now over here, we're going to be using the blueprint animation class that this character has. I went to kind of small, so that's why you can see it. That is going to be the Freddy. So I'm going to hit compile and I'm going to hit save. And now that I have everything in place, I have a character controller going to let me move. Now on the world settings, and if you don't see it, it's because by default is hidden. Go to window and then look for world settings. Make sure that this check mark here. And then I will expand my game mode and I will be using Bonnie. So I will just drag and drop that instead of Freddy, use Bonnie. And I will save all once again. And what I should have is going to be Freddy, or in this case, Bonnie, because I just replaced that. And as you can see, it maintained the hat. So if you have a particular hat you want to use with your character, you can do that. The other character in the background is going to be just walking around. I can actually possess that character. She's going to start looking for me. When she looks at me, it's just going to start following me around. But if you trick him and get behind him, if you not letting his guard down, but if you somehow surprise him and left the right click selected while he jumped into him, you will be able to possess him. There you go. And then now you have a character that is just walking around. They're going to switch places actually, so that character is just going to keep on doing that. But as he is not he's not interested in Freddy, there's a setting that is going to change the behavior. He's just going to stay there. So I can just recover, and then she's going to start following me around. So that is basically it for this video. It's for sure a short one, but this is going to be showing you how to create your character controller based on everything that we have said. So important points that are going to be taken into consideration. Everything needs to be in a folder. You name your username. So that is going to be IGME, IGME317, Project 02, then your username, and then all of these guys are going to be following naming conventions. Remember, textures starts with B, and depending on the texture, it's going to be BC underscore N or underscore ORN. So BC for base color, N for normals, and ORN for occlusion, roughness, metallic, coming from Substance Painter into the Unreal Engine package. You're going to be having SKM for your skeletal mesh, SKM physics for this other character. So that is going to be the physics. We will be talking about that in a future session, MI for materials, and then the name of your two things, and then BPC for your character. So this is a blueprint child. In theory, like there's no real reason to add the C underscore because every single blueprint is a child something else. But just to keep things consistent, please call that BPC underscore and whatever the name of the thing is. So replace the character controller and you should be good to go. So long we have all of the things that you see here on the screen, and then this guy is able to just walk around and do its character controller things, you should be good to go. So I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.